Hi everybody, it's Colin here from Woodthorpe International. I thought I'd do a bit of experimenting. I had some ideas about this Lodi equipment and I thought it probably works without having Itrains on, and it does, and I'll show you this. And you don't even have to turn it on with Itrains. I can turn it on with the handset, which again I will show you. I've tidied the wire up on the Helix. There's one train moving just to show the stuff work, and showing that with the rector and the booster behind here, you can just use it as a normal DCC controller with a wireless handset. And you can also use it in DC mode, which I'll explain. Right, so on with the video. Right, usually when you want to connect Itrains up to your layout, which is this layout, you would go to here, press connect, and as you can hear, that train has started. But if you have the handset, the Lodi hand controller, as you can see there is a red dial in the middle, means there's no power going to the track, and it's got a big green button, and it basically, if you touch that, it gets it going, which made me think, can you use the equipment without Itrains? So if I just stop it again and shut Itrains down, so Itrains isn't on now. Just what you have to do with your equipment when you first get it, you have to load on the Lodi programmer to tie them all together, and you have to find them down here, and basically you network them together. It is better to network them through hardwire. This part is Wi-Fi, but it's better to do it through the hardwire, through the Ethernet cable. Put it into a switcher and it goes to all the different equipment. Now, if you so wish, once you've connected that, you don't need your computer again. So it's programmed and it's in its memory. So if you want, if I go into the fiddle room or into the room with England, Japan and Europe on, I can just pick up a handset and run one train. I can run as many trains as I wish at the end of the day, but I could just pick it up like this. I just want to move that train backwards. I press the go button. In this case, it's got sound, so American trains like starting up, unless you mute it before you start it. But I'm having the sound on, so it indicates there's definitely power there. I'll put it into reverse. You just press the power control knob and then I'll just move it back. and I'm doing that without the Itrains. I'm just running it through the equipment and how it's wired up for Itrains, but not the program. The software is not running it. I'm running it just with the Lodi equipment, which is quite handy. It doesn't take long, in all fairness. I'll turn the sound off. It doesn't take long to turn the computer on and actually turn Itrains on. It's only seconds with this new equipment, but if you've got a slow computer, it takes a bit longer. And in my case, this is the master for Itrains, and this will not stay in that room because I use it for many different things if I want to take it anywhere. Now, if I actually don't take it in or forget, this is where I can just run trains using the setup. Now, it won't be set up like this, but there'll be many of them, and my hand controller. And you can have as many hand controllers you want, so you can have people around and have another hand controller for them, and they can control different trains. But I'll show you it running now as just a DCC power box and the controller, not running through the Lodi S88 Commander, which powers the blocks or controls the blocks, because the power comes out of the booster there, and show it running, just running that, the brain and the power and a handset, this handset. And I think that's quite a good thing, because this is quite robust. It's quite solid. I like that you can turn it and the panel moves round, so you can have the throttle on the right or whichever. Compared to the other handset I had, the Pico, it worked brilliant, don't get me wrong, but it was a bit sensitive when turning on. And a lot of American trains like to start off with the sound. They are changing it from what I understand, and they're having it so you turn the sound on. For me, it's not the best thing, because, you know, first thing in the morning, say you go to work, the engine's not running for you ready. You've got to go and start it up and drive your train. Right, now what I've done now, just to show you that it just is going to run if you just bought the rector and the booster, which is on the back there. That, if you can see it, on the wires there, the Lodi booster, because that gives the power, that's the brain. And if you can imagine those two wires, as I said, going as a bus route, and then what I've done is I've taken the droppers, as you would call them on a normal layout, but these are still droppers, but going to the block detector unit. That is section, block 1, and I've taken the wires out of the terminal, which is number 1 there. I've actually unplugged it so you can see for definite they're not on, and I've put the droppers, which come up here, into a couple of terminus blocks, like you would connect onto your bus wire. Now you might not do it like that, you'd use something else like we have. But this, because this is the end, they actually go in to the supply here, the plus on the very end, the plus and minus. So I've actually taken them off because that's showing that that's the bus wire and my droppers are connected into it. The handset is active as normal, except for it's not on. There's no power to the track because that train's got no power to it, no noise. So if I just press the go button, and it comes on. And now I can drive this train. Now I'll move it backwards first. You just press the knob to reverse the direction. Put some power. So it's going backwards. And I'll stop it. So I'll put it into forward gear. Now to prove that, not to prove it, but just to show you that that is a dropper to block 1, when it gets fully on the point, or at some point when it touches the point, it'll go off. So if I put some power to it, train is going forward and it's going to the point, and it's gone off because there's no actual power anywhere except the first block, or that bit of track what the dropper is connected to, going to the bus. So all you got to do is you buy the Lodi rector, the Lodi booster, connect your wires in, and as Gemma's done on Stony Hall, and we did with our other controller, she's got 2 circuits. So those 2 would be the outer and those 2 would be the inner. And the handset would work any train on either bus route, either bus wire, should I say. And your trains are stored on here, so you can just go through your different ones you've got and then click on them and you would then drive it. But that one's not on. Oh. So the one what is on is that one, and put that on. So that is something you can just do, is use the Lodi as a normal power box, a power unit and a handset. And not forgetting, you can connect more than one handset to the system. So if 2 people, like us 2, we both can have a handset each and run a train on whatever part of the layout. But that's how that is quite useful to know. And like the handset turned on my system, I can also turn on the Lodi Shift Commander and it would turn all the points on and signals, and then I can control them through the handset as well. Again, if for some reason I just wanted to have a quick run round, I could just go in, turn it on, and just run it on the Lodi stuff and control everything without looking at the monitor to see where everything is. And not forgetting also just using the rector, the booster, which is on the back, what I showed you, and wires coming out of those two terminals going straight to the track, and using your handset you can just use it as DC. And if you had two loops or two areas, not forgetting you can connect two more wires there and have two power supplies going to different bits of the track. I was going to probably start making the plans on Itrains for the new layouts. Now, what in the the real world, that part there will be going that way, but if I on here turn on, so if I bring any rail up here, yeah, I've drawn it this way, so I'm wanting to actually draw it that way. It's just going to make it more easier for me, but that doesn't matter. It turning here, it comes out of this room here, that brake, and turning, because whatever the length is going straight on, when I type it into Itrains, I will just put the length and it will be that. And that point there is where it goes into the room there. And I've been doing the yellow, the dark navy, the orange and the light blue line at the moment in this area here, to the Helix, Helix to England. Now what I'm going to probably do is England is going to be underneath. Let me bring the right mouse up. England is going to be underneath this plan going off that way. So what I may do is connect the two helixes, the bottom and the top up. And the same with going to the fiddle yard from America. So the whole lot will be joined up, because again, the lower bit here will be from the fiddle yard to England, will have this kind of thing on here, and the tunnel is where they join up. Now if you look at closely here, these lines here, as they come off the helix, if you remember me saying this helix is going to be 50mm higher, because when it comes out I want it to go over the tracks to get to the two outer side ones. So that is yellow line on the plan, and this one here is yellow. So this is where it runs within the shed, this particular room, and it doesn't go off to the rest of the world, it only goes down to England. And that is the dark navy, and that's the dark navy line, which these two will join up further down here according to the plan. It's very interesting transferring this because of the limitations of the corners. There's only two corners. That very sharp one there, or that little bit bigger one, and that's all you've got in the range. Don't know if in the future Itrains will put a flexi on that you can just make your own curve, so it would be closer to that, but it'll all come together. It'll all make sense in the end, especially when trains are on. And you won't be looking at this and that and thinking, well, what's the difference? This will be, and you'll be looking at your track to see where a certain train may be, because that'll tell you, that block there will tell you there's a train on it, and it'll tell you what it is, and then you'll just look at the physical layout and go, oh yeah, there it is. So I can't show you anything highlighted as a block because I haven't named the blocks yet. I'm going to start off up here from this layout, the America, and then go through Europe into Japan and down into England and back into the fiddle yard. A lot of work to do on making this plan. It's alright me putting it on here, that were easy. Getting it onto here and making it that I know what it is. And all the blocks and all the detectors and all the feedbacks. It's ace. There was just one more thing I needed to do on the Helix, and that was tidy the wiring up. Now, there's two blocks in this, the inside track and the outside track, and that's the inside and that's the outside. At the moment, they're wired through the block to the next block, because I'd just take them to a normal controller. They're not going to be connected to Itrains until they're in place. So at the moment, they're just powered all together. But it was just so much easier. I decided to put them on the outside just for ease. I don't have to do any crawling about. I don't have to go into the middle to do it. So that's the wiring done for the Helix, and I'll do the same on the other two big ones, and the small ones. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, wiring wise, because that's in the middle of one of them's in, well, both are in middle of the layout and the big junction, so I'll have to come up with some sort of plan to make it, you know, tidy. So I hope this was quite interesting. If you was thinking of a different way of powering your layout and you wanted a hands-free, this is an item you can actually get, that one. It's not as sensitive as this make. So if you can see it, that this particular system is very sensitive to starting up, and it was at times a bit of an issue with the American trains, and that's why on my old layout you saw me have to make it into zones to knock some power off, so it only started so many engines at a time. this is a lot better. So I will say ta-ra and have a good couple of weeks until the next video. Bye for now. Bye.